question of sustainability starts with the premise that our existing model, be it sort of the value chain a business is based on, or be it sort of how we do the math, right? Sort of presumes an infinite source of material, and it's just not there, right? So three simple examples. First, in our accounting, we don't incorporate public goods as part of the cost. Because we don't incorporate public goods as part of the cost, the consequence is that we can treat them as inexhaustible because they don't have any downside in the accounting model, right? Second one is a simple one, which is that in economics, growth is always good, right? Now, that was actually a reasonable assumption when the majority of people in the world were really badly off, right? As an increasing percentage of people in the world are reasonably well off, that may not be a perfect assumption, right? So it's a question of relative growth, for example, that matters, right? And so the third one is that sort of as we deconstructed our value chain to get increasingly efficient, we actually lost track of where the sort of what harm we were doing in any step of that value chain, right? So we took things that in the U.S., for example, that were regulated or had control over environmental impact or societal impact or personal impact, sort of because we gave it to somebody else, what we really did was offload sort of our problems to someone else and made them invisible, right? You put any one of those as a problem, you put all three together, it's a real issue, right? Whether it be environmental sustainability or social sustainability or inequity and compensation around the world, whatever it is, the three together cause an unsustainable model. And, that's coming home to roost in a whole series of ways. And I think there's sort of two reasons why we in business should worry about it, right? The first is you don't want to create a model that doesn't work in the long term, right? So just pragmatically we should be worried. And the second is that if we don't create a sustainable model, we won't be allowed to play. Energy and environment is huge. And it's huge for the reasons I described earlier, which is we have an unsustainable model in its present form, and we don't have long to fix it, right? An important point there is there's opportunities across the entire spectrum. There's opportunities in entrepreneurial activity because we're going to have to innovate our way out of things. And there's opportunities in working with the big utility firms because it turns out the grid is at the heart of it, right? So if you're interested in energy of any kind, be it financing energy, consulting to energy, building a windmill, getting natural gas out of the ground, across the entire spectrum, there's a huge opportunity there, right? And I think the lack of availability of human capital is going to be the rate limiting factor in that sector, right? Second sector, obviously, is health because we're all getting older, right? And it turns out as we get older, we have greater needs. The challenge there is going to remain profitable because it's going to be increasingly regulated, but there'll be huge opportunities in that sector. I think there's phenomenal opportunities in IT media. That sort of the convergence of technology, the convergence of traditional information technology with media, with entertainment is happening really, really, really fast. Right? And just sort of think about this as an example, right? There's a whole different way of bringing information to the market that wasn't possible, that has business models that are actually really pretty interesting of the kind that we're associated with here. Right? And put all that together, it's probably $3.5 trillion industry that is actually changing form in real time, right? So whenever you have growth in form change, you've got huge opportunity, right? Then if you sort of said, where's that exist? Those three sectors are interesting in every place in the world, from sub-Saharan Africa to China to India to Russia, right? So I'd place sector, right? And then I think the important point is that wherever you grew up, don't take your first job there, right? Take your first job somewhere else, because it's a pretty good bet your ability to understand how other places in the world play is going to be increasingly important in the future. So if you're Chinese, work in India, United States, Russia. If you're American, work anywhere but the United States. It's your first job. Now, you can always go home, raise a family where you want, but the degree to which you know well other places will be a huge competitive advantage.